This week on Camera Talk, we are talking.
Get the fuck out of here.
We're not going to any countries. We're not going to Japan or Germany or Zimbabwe or anywhere like that. What are we doing? Well, this week, just want to talk to you about being a beginner.
What? No.
I'm an expert at being a beginner. I've been a beginner of many things in my life, and photography was one of them. And maybe considered still a beginner. Anyway, I want to talk to you about some of the mistakes that I made and probably continue to make to this day. But I just want to make you aware, if you're a beginner, don't feel bad. We've all been there. We all have to start somewhere. So let's look at the dirty dozen. There's 12 things that beginners should kind of be aware of to help get beyond this stage of your hobby. I'll say habit.
It's not really.
Let's venture down this path together, right? So grab yourself something to eat or drink. Get yourself comfortable.
Talk it out, man.
And let's get it on.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always coming down.
This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. And normally with his little co-host, Dylan. But who's at school right now because it's 3:50 in the afternoon. And Dylan doesn't get home till about 5. So this is a solo run by Dr. Scott, and hopefully we'll get through this faster than normally when he's here and interrupting everything.
Fuck off!
So anyway, what are we talking about this week? Just as the intro said, we're looking at the dirty dozen. 12 beginner mistakes, we'll call them that. And, I don't want to use the word mistake too much. Let's just think of it as a way that as beginners we can improve our experiences within photography, right? We all start sometime. We all had to start somewhere. So let's go through them one by one. I'm not going to go in depth with each one because each one of these could be, hey, its own video, right? But this is kind of just a little checklist. If you're a beginner, don't feel bad. These are just things to work on to help improve, all right? First, we'll go one by one. First and foremost, composition. Something we don't, a lot of us don't consider because we're used to, this thing here, our cell phone, all right? We see something, click. We see that over there, your friends like, click. You see that, oh, look, an elephant. Click. Aww. We don't consider much. It's a snapshot, right? Well, composition. I mean, if you're going to get into the world of photography, composition is something that requires a little thought, right? What is your horizon straight? What's going on in your background? Are there distractions? There's all kinds of different rules, they call them in the art world. Rules of third is probably the most common. Making sure your subjects are on the cross points of the rule of third, stuff like that. Are things to consider when you're looking at composition. I talked about that in the cropping video just last week, cropping out things that shouldn't be in there. But anyway, if you can get it right in camera the first time, it saves having to rely on that, which is one of our other points that I'll get to in a minute. All right, that was number one, composition. Something you can learn about, all kinds of YouTube videos about composition. I recommend watching them. The second one is camera shake. You guys drink coffee?
Steady as a rock. Yeah, but I shoot with this hand.
I drink a ton of coffee. And not too bad. I mean, I can see a tiny little vibration going on there.
That's how you use it.
But hey, it's not bad. But when you're hand holding, especially, and again you're trying to take pictures of something that is moving, especially, camera shake is bound to play a role in how sharp your image is going to get. And generally it comes from either, again, as a beginner, not knowing better, your shutter speed is too slow.
I don't care.
Or, you know, if you want to eliminate it altogether, using a tripod. You know, a lot of beginners don't even consider using a tripod. And that is somebody like me. I hardly use a tripod for photography. Obviously, I use it for my YouTube videos because my camera is on one right now. But when I'm out about taking pictures everywhere, I tend to handhold. Now, again, if you want a blurry shot, if it's part of your artistic vision, then go ahead and introduce some blur into your photo if that's what you're looking for. But if you want to avoid it, tripod or increase that shutter speed will help eliminate that. So let's move on to number 3. So that was number 2. So we've got 1 done, 2 done. We're on to number 3. Number 3 is incorrectly focusing. It depends on a number of different things. It could be how you're using your camera with your autofocus. You know, if you have your focus area in the wrong place, or it could be something like depth of field. You know, maybe you have such a shallow depth of field going, you're shooting at 1.2, and again, the same thing. The little girl, she's blowing out her birthday candles, and as she's blowing, you snap that photo. You got her nose dead on in focus, but her eyes and the rest of her face are out of focus. Probably not the greatest photo that mom and dad were looking for. So anyway, incorrect focus. That's another beginner mistake right there. And it happens to the best of us. Not that I'm including me as in the best of us, but
No way.
it happens. It happens out there. So anyway, what was that? That was number 3. All right, number 3. Number 4, kind of related along the same lines, but improper exposure. All right, you've heard of the exposure triangle, and if not, again, look it up. Watch lots of YouTube videos out there. Many great YouTubers out there explain it very well, a lot better than I can. But the exposure triangle, your aperture, your shutter speed, and your ISO, those 3 all working in tandem together to give you the proper exposure. And your exposure is something that has the, well, I wouldn't say the proper light to it, because it depends on you as the artist. You want it brighter or darker, that's up to you. But if that's what your target is, then you use the exposure to obtain that goal that you're after. To achieve the goal that you're after. So, you know, through your aperture, through your shutter speed, or through your ISO, it's going to result in a picture that's not too dark and not too light.
Missed it by that much.
So anyway, that's something to look up. I'm not going to teach it to you here. As I said, look it up online, and someone will teach you all about the exposure triangle.
That's what I'm talking about.
Anyway, number 5. I think we're on number 5. Number 5, always shooting in auto or program mode.
What the fuck is that?
Now, when you first get a camera and you know nothing about it, okay, fine. It's kind of what your cell phone does, right? Your cell phone shoots in auto or program mode. You know, again, it's a great way to just take a picture. You know, it basically lets the camera make all the decisions about everything you're doing.
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
And, you know, modern cameras, something just developed this year, is probably pretty good at auto exposure or program mode. But again, if you're an artist and you want to have more control over your, you know, your artwork, your results,
I'm a fucking artist. I'm sensitive as shit.
you may want to start exploring with things like aperture priority or shutter priority for how fast your shutter speed is, or putting it in manual and adjusting all of them, or putting it in manual and setting your aperture and setting your shutter speed and letting auto ISO take over from there, because ISO in modern cameras is pretty good. These days you can get higher ISO without introducing too much noise. So anyway, that's number 5. Number 6 is ignoring the light. Don't go into the light.
Do not go into the light.
Light is what photography is all about, right? I mean, the whole science behind how your camera works. There's a sensor inside there that collects light, and how it collects that light results in the digital processing of that light to create an image or an image file that you download to a computer, bring it up on the screen, and it renders a photograph.
Holy crap.
Don't ignore the light. What direction is the light coming in? You know, if you're not wanting harsh shadows and dark circles under people's eyes and everything, you have to know where that light's coming from. Aww. The quality of that light, is it too intense? Is it too weak? Colors, another one. Are there some funky colors going on? Like my Dr. Scott neon sign over here. You know, if I get too close to it and take pictures, it's gonna have a blue cast onto my skin. Things like that. You just have to be aware of these things. And again, artistic freedom. Some may choose to include that in their photos, and hey, that's entirely up to you. But it's something that beginners, again, tend to overlook is the light. Don't ignore the light. Number 7, white balance.
Hey, where are the white women at?
Kind of, sort of, almost related to light. But white balance is how the science in your camera, again, determines the colors in your photos. So again, if your white balance is off, you're going to end up with kind of unnatural colors of things. And the worst place to see this is in skin tone. You know, if your white balance is off and you end up with funky green skin tones or magenta skin tones and things like that, people tend to not look so great in your photos. So again, white balance, I'm not going to teach you all about how to fix that or adjust or anything else. Again, plenty of YouTube videos out there to teach you that stuff, but it's something beginners should learn. White balance, what it is, how to adjust it, how to correct for it, or how to create something of your own using white balance. Number 8, not getting close enough.
So, what are you trying to say?
It's another thing too. Again, we're so used to snapshot things with our cell phone and everything else, we just take pictures of things. Now, depending on the type of camera or lens that you have, you can always zoom in to something to get closer to it. But if you're like me, I use primes on most things. You know, these are all prime fixed lenses. So how do I zoom? You have to zoom with your feet. You have to walk closer to where I'm going. But if you're not close enough, then you tend to get all this space and all this clutter and all this background. And again, it could be intentional. Maybe if the background is part of your subject, then that's okay. But if you're like doing a portraiture of somebody and you're looking to get, you know, head, shoulders, knees and toes, you know, if you're looking to just do a portrait shot, a headshot of somebody, and you're, you know, 10 meters away, using 35 millimeter, well, you're probably not going to get a very good headshot. So you have to move closer. The more you can fill the frame, the better your results will be in that regard. So again, something to consider. Number 9, almost kind of related to that one as well, leads on to over-reliance of post-editing. A lot of times we take pictures of things, snap, 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 thinking, don't worry, I'll just crop it out, or I'll use my erase tooling, move that out of there, and blah, 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 blah. Well, that's all fine and dandy. But again, if you're looking to excel in your new hobby,
You suck!
or maybe you're going to become a professional photographer, you want to, again, try to get things right in camera the first time, so that really your post-editing is all about making minor tweaks here and there, just to improve the quality of the photo, not to drastically alter it or come up with something completely different than what you had taken in the first place.
Now for something completely different.
So don't rely on that post-editing so much. And don't go overboard on that too, as a lot of beginners tend to do that, oversaturate the crap out of their colors. End up with something that looks like a poster or some kind of circus advertisement. Anyway, be careful with that post-editing. It can be addictive. Number 10, beginners, learn your camera.
What, you want to learn something?
Yes, I do.
These things are like little computers. They can do some pretty wild and crazy things out there, and it can be overwhelming. You could have 15, 20 pages on your menu of all these different things, and each one of those can break down to sub-menus and different options and things. Read the manual, or if you're not into reading, you know, a lot of people these days hate reading things. Poor you.
No. No, 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 no.
Again, YouTube videos. There's lots of other videos out there that can introduce you to the various elements in the menu and advise you on some of the better settings. And it's basically their own opinion, of course. This is how I set up my camera. And if you want to be like them, then copy them and do their thing.
You need to do better.
But again, if you want, again, to be, even if you're not a professional, but be professionally thinking anyway, learn the tool, learn how to use it, and figure out what helps you get the best results of what you're envisioning. I mean, nothing worse than taking pictures of things and going, man, that's not what I wanted.
It actually really, really sucks.
Is it your fault? Yeah, it's 100% your fault. Don't blame the camera. You know, it's because you're not using it as it's designed to be used. And again, there's all kinds of ways that you can change the settings in your camera to help you get the results that you're after. Number 11. Always shooting at eye level. It's another very beginner thing to do. Every single one of your shots, you're standing up, taking dead-on shots of things. That's all great, fine and dandy. They have their time and place for that type of photography. But again, if you want to go beyond just doing what the common man does, or common woman.
Deal with it. Okay, and you're welcome.
Try getting down low and shooting up. Try getting up high and shooting down. Try getting around the side. Try coming in from behind.
That's what she said.
You know, backing up, going forward. So many different ways that you can approach a scene to get the different photos. And if you've got the time and your subject's willing to stay in one spot, again, especially if it's living, it may not want to sit there for very long, but if you have a cooperative subject, try taking shots at a 360, go all the way around it, up, down, sideways, whatever. And then later, when you're going through them all, you may find that there's a specific angle that really stands out and delivers that wow factor.
Holy shit.
That you wouldn't have got if you just take the same thing doing eye level all the time. All right, so think of that. Stop shooting everything at eye level. And the last one, the dirtiest of the dirty dozens is failing to back up your photos. Duh. A lot of people will just go home and put everything on their computer and walk away, and that's the end of that. And then later the power fails in their house or something, and it goes out, and they didn't save anything, and it was all wiped out, and they've already formatted their card, or the card may be corrupt. If you're lucky, maybe you have like my A7R here has dual slot, has 2 cards, and they duplicate. So, that's one way to do it. But back up your photos. Again, your PC is not foolproof.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Hackers get in there, hard drives fail, things like this. Getting a Google Drive, the expanded drive, or iCloud, or any one of these external storage areas, they're cheap, but keep your photos there, because you never know, 10, 20 years from now, you may want to pull up some of the old stuff and go, wow, I really want to see these old photos, and there they are. But if you lost them on your computer, gone forever, right? Out of sight, out of mind. So anyhow, that's all I want to say about the beginner dirty dozen. I know it was a lot. I zipped through them kind of quickly, or maybe not. Some of you probably said, oh, you talk too slow. You're going. Anyway, if you don't like my videos, then don't watch them, right?
Fuck your tongue out.
It's a free world. But hey, you know what I want to do next? Talk about my photo editing software. Who do I use? I use Luminar. And why do I like Luminar? Well, for a number of different reasons. I've been using it for years already, so I'm quite used to it. But there's plenty of bells and whistles and cool things in it. But most of all is our most modern addition to society, and that's AI, right? AI is now everywhere. It's the thing. Well, AI can be a real pain in the ass, or it could be your friend. And in this case, it's your friend because it speeds up the workflow, and it really helps me because I can use all the help I can get when I'm editing things. So, I'll give you an example. In the erase tool, now all photo editing software has erase, right? You can erase things. Well, Luminar Neo has some additional buttons within the erase. And one of them is spot and dust removal. So let's say you were down at the beach, as my scenario, taking some photos of some hot babes. My wife's either sleeping on the towel beside her, or she went off to take Dylan somewhere to go get him ice cream or whatever. So I'm snapping away, getting photos of the hot babes. I get home, pull those hot babes up on the monitor while the wife's in the kitchen preparing some dinner, or maybe she's off at the spa getting her hair done. Who knows, but I'm alone. So I pull up the hot babes, and turns out maybe my eyesight wasn't so great, and the hot babes were not as hot as I thought they were. Well, anyway, I still, looking in the background, I see seagulls, a flock of seagulls. No, I mean the birds. And there's these spots in among the birds, and I'm like, what are those? Are they just seagulls further away or what? No, it turns out that I have a dirty sensor. Taking the lens on and off all the time, sea spray, dust, all kinds of stuff, crap gets on your sensor, creates dust. The sky, or a white background, is the place that these things stand out more than anything else. So, Luminar has a spot and dust removal, which will analyze your photo. This is the AI part, right? It analyzes your photo, recognizes those spots, and removes them. Click, one button. I don't have to sit there and click, 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 and erase, and so on and so forth. That's pretty cool. It leaves the seagulls alone, but gets rid of the spots. Right? Yeah. The other one that I think is pretty cool is power line removal. It's in the same erase area. You click on that, and it will analyze your photo. Now, let's say, again, I'm out on the street. I'm in roaming around in Rome, Italy or something, and I see this old building. I'm like, wow, this would look really cool over my fireplace. And I take pictures of it, get home, fly back to Vietnam, pull it up on my monitor, and lo and behold, there's this damn power pole with power lines everywhere. How did I not see that? Beginner mistake, right? So I go into Luminar, click on power line removal, and it will analyze my photo. And it will identify those power lines and erase them for me. Now, because the building also has lines through it, it may confuse a power line with a line in the building. You may have to brush it out yourself, but boo-hoo. It's not perfect. Nothing is.
You talking to me?
But it's better than me doing it all myself, right? So anyway, it's full of all this kind of stuff. So it has things like background removal. You know, if you got stuff in there you just don't want in the background, it can identify the background and remove it for you. It's the same with masking AI. If you want to mask people in there, it will mask them for you without you having to go in and brush them over and everything else. That's pretty cool. It has standard stuff like Photoshop and everyone else has like sky replacement. You know, they put in a nice fluffy clouds or a stormy day or whatever you want. That kind of stuff. So it's got all kinds of bells and whistles in there. One of the other things I like about the program is that it's economical compared to some of the others.
Cheap bastard.
You can either buy it for life or you can do monthly or yearly subscriptions. You know, I just buy my software outright. There's a new one for portraiture that's coming out next month that I've already pre-ordered, so I get it at a discount anyway, because I do mostly portraiture anyway. So anyhow, so yeah, I like to buy my software so it's mine. I do what I want with it, and then they upgrade as things goes on. Because obviously, if you pay for stuff over time, years and years and years paying for it, you pay a heck of a lot more than you would have if you just bought it in the first place, right? Because at Modesty Photography, hey, we're all about saving money and stuff like that. So anyhow, the other thing about Luminar, you know, again, if you want to save some money, click on the link in the description below. There's a link in there. It'll take you to Skylum, the name of the producer, and they'll give you a discount when you buy Luminar through that link. And you're also doing them a favor, because where are they located? They're in Ukraine. Everybody knows what's going on there. So anyway, you know, hopefully that conflict will be over soon enough, and teach Uncle Vlad a lesson. Anyhow, so other than that, well, how about you support our channel?
Oh, yes.
No, I don't mean financially. I mean through subscribing. That's right. Subscribe. Double the power. Subscribe. Did you hear that? Did you get it? Did you feel the impact? Subscribe. What else does YouTube like besides subscribers? Well, besides that, they like the thumbs up, right? So you give us a thumbs up, we'll give you a little taste of Dylan's favorite girls, the Thumbs Up Girls. They have a little song that goes something like this: thumbs up, do 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 do, thumbs up. Aren't they cute? That's right. Anyhow, so well, who are we? I'm Dr. Scott. He's Dylan. Well, he obviously he's at school.
I'm Batman.
I'm Spartacus!
Bond. James Bond.
And collectively, we are all Modesty Photography. We're here to talk about tips and tricks about photography, vintage lenses, vintage cameras, modern lenses, modern cameras, you name it, anything photographic, we'll talk about it. I'm not shy. So come on back next week, right? Because we do one of these every Friday, or we try to do every Friday anyway. And where are we? Oh, we're in Vietnam.
Good morning, Vietnam!
So that could be the day before you, the day after you, or the same day as you, depending on your funky time zone that you're in. So other than that, hey, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you for buying a copy of Luminar through our link. And thank you for just being you. That's right. Should you come back next week? I think so. Because you belong here. That's right. I tell my students at university that all the time. You belong here. And where do you belong? What was the name of the show? This was Camera Talk with Dr. Scott and his little co-host Dylan, who's not here, thank goodness. So, that's all I've got for you this week. So again, thanks for dropping by. All right, you're free to go. Woohoo! All right, that's the end of that. All right, so we'll see you next week. And take care, stay shooting. All right, cameras. And we'll talk to you and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Here I am, Vietnam.